There he is.
There we go.
Oh my God, you have a name tag on.
I know I'm at work. I told him I had a very important interview.
It's a really
So that
important.
I exactly.
Where do you work?
I work at the Grand Bohemian downtown, Charleston.
What is the Grand Bohemian? Is that a hotel?
Yeah,
Whoa, you're in Charleston, South Carolina?
that's where I'm at.
What do you want to talk about?
Dude, so I'm like in recovery and I gotta make amends to all these people for
Okay.
fucking them over in the past.
Yeah.
So that could get kind of spicy. We could talk about that.
Alcohol or drugs or all of the above?
All the above, D,
Oh my God, so you were hardcore.
for sure.
So I did the amends with my dad recently. But here's the thing, my dad keeps being like, we've basically done the amends a million times because you always call me and yell at me and tell me that I ruined your life. And I'm like, "Yeah, but I want the official sit down. I want to sit down. I want there to be a camera crew there. I want it to feel like a Netflix documentary."
Right.
He's like, you can't
But
just keep telling me that you date bad guys because I was an alcoholic. And I'm like, why not?
you need all that stuff because you're that important, right?
Exactly. Who do you feel like you need to make the most amends with?
Probably my mom, honestly,
Okay, yeah, that's a tough one.
for sure. Well, it's kind of tough, but it's kind of not because she's in recovery too. So
Okay,
like she's gonna be super understanding about it,
right.
but still it's like,
The whole
dude,
conversation is her just going same, same,
yeah,
same.
for real. For
You
real.
don't look
Exactly.
like someone who would have been an addict.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You look like a sweet Southern boy.
That was part of that's how I was able to manipulate a lot of people.
Right.
I definitely need to talk with her for sure. And definitely apologize for all the stuff that I did, just something as simple as like just stealing so much time from her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. How long
So
have you been sober?
I've been sober only like 90 days.
Okay, congrats.
Thanks.
Those must
Thanks.
be,
So
I feel like the first 90 days must be the hardest.
it is pretty challenging because it's like when I first came in, it was almost like just have a drinking and substance problem and that's it, right? But it's really more than that. It's really like it gets a lot deeper. It's like, no, I got a problem with who the fuck I am. You know what I'm
It's
saying? Like,
existential.
exactly. It's like I'm filled with fear. I'm filled with, all this other stuff, you know what I'm saying? That allows me to like that has caused me to make certain decisions and choices in my life that I didn't necessarily want to make, but I did make,
Mhm.
to get substance, to get alcohol, to become accepted. So it's crazy how like it's really more of it's such a spirit, like there has to be some sort of like spiritual healing involved. So
Well, yeah, because I feel like substances are just a way to cope with something much more existential.
yeah, definitely.
Well, here's the thing. This is why, like, I think that everyone should, like, part of the healing process should be like deep reading. Like, I think like as a society, we have an existential problem, and I think the best way to cure that is by reading like old Russian literature or something, where like
Interesting.
there's something about reading literature from another time where people were also experiencing existential or spiritual issues, and you're like, wow, they went through it too. It's actually human to not know who I am.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. Old Russian literature.
You gotta read old Russian literature.
Got any recommendations?
You gotta read Dostoevsky. You gotta read Tolstoy. I mean, the
Gotcha.
brutal Russian literature about the meaninglessness of life.
Sounds pretty exciting.
Well, I mean, yeah, it'll make you feel bad before it makes you feel better. But I think that this
Love that shit.
I think the issue of not knowing who you are, I think you shouldn't know who you are. Like, I think attaching yourself to any identity or idea that you should know who you are is the spiritual problem in and of itself. It's like you
That's
are
so true. What the
you're
fuck?
nothing, and that's good. Like, it's actually good to be nothing.
Exactly, because like if I get this idea of that I know it all, you know what I'm saying? It's like no one's gonna be able to tell me shit. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
You'll
And
constantly be
that's
disappointed.
not where I want to be. Thanks for being my 10-minute temporary sponsor. I
Of
appreciate
course.
it.
I would be an amazing sponsor, I think.
You definitely would. You
I mean
definitely
also my
would.
dad's an addict, so I'm kind of like used to it at this point. Sober for like, I don't know, 8 years or something. So he's like really
That's
turned
dope.
the spiritual corner and stuff and talks about it. But have you read any have you heard of the author Eckhart Tolle?
Not a big reader, unfortunately.
Can I recommend one book for you that you have to promise me you'll read?
Yes, so please tell me and then shoot me like a DM with that book
Okay.
so I'll remember. I have
Okay.
the worst memory. I'm obviously burnt out. So
Right,
like
right. There's not a lot of receptors left. But the book is called A New Earth. I'll send
okay.
it to you by Eckhart Tolle. And
Sweet.
the whole book is about ego and like how
Okay.
ego runs our lives, but it shows how our attachment to our own identity manifests in like addiction or depression or whatever your coping mechanism
Hell yeah.
is. And it's
For
just
sure.
about like letting go of the idea like you don't know but you should. That's the problem, but
Right.
you shouldn't know. Once you let go of the should, you just kind of are free from that.
God, that sounds interesting as hell.
Yeah,
For sure. Thanks for the recommendation.
of course.
That's so cool.
How are you finding like, because you're pretty young. How old are you?
I'm 32.
So like what are you like figuring out what your like social life is gonna look like with sobriety?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So as of now, I kind of surround my people or I surround myself with people that are kind of doing the same stuff that I'm doing, but that doesn't like that's just kind of me early on, right? I still want to sort of like I still want to get to like a place in my life where like I can go to the barber shop and not get a haircut, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Like put myself in positions where like I can go to concerts, I can do, go to the bar, whatever, not really want to go to the bar, not drink. It's kind of weird, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like get myself like into those certain positions. But so I'm kind of working on that, just getting like a foundation together for myself.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that must be the hardest part probably. It's just like restructuring your life.
Yeah, exactly. They tell me you got to change one thing and that's everything. So like,
Yeah.
and it's cool that you recommended that book about like ego and all that. And they're like telling me, well, you know what ego stands for? It's easing God out. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh.
Like, I definitely, I can be egotistical and I can definitely be prideful. And then all these other character defects and shortcomings that come along with, Matthew. Definitely
Matthew
some, yeah,
is who?
me. I'm just speaking, yeah,
Oh,
speaking
I
of,
thought you meant Matthew like Matthew in the Bible. I was like Matthew
ah,
6:17.
dude, Matthew is such a fucked up person.
Really? I've never even seen a Bible in the flesh. I don't know what's going on in there, but
I
I
have no idea. That was more or less just joking, but I'm sure he had his problems
he
too.
probably was not a good guy. He probably was an alcoholic too, honestly.
Too
I mean,
much wine.
Jesus was turning water into wine as if all his friends didn't have a drinking problem.
Right.
For sure. It's like when you go to South America and cocaine is $5, you're like, I guess I'm a cokehead now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One bag's too many and a thousand's never enough,
Mm-hmm. Well,
for
I think it's
sure.
really commendable that you're doing sobriety. I think that's awesome.
Oh
I
yeah.
I think people always look so much better when they're sober. Like whenever I've gone like months without drinking, like 6 months, and my skin clears up, I look better. So you're gonna be hotter at the end of all this.
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to that
And
for
that's all
sure.
that matters really in life is how hot you are.
Exactly. If that's all I got, I'll live a happy life, right?
Yeah, I think you'll be great in Charleston. You'll be the hottest guy in Charleston.
So that's the goal. That's the ending goal.
And it should be. And that's the takeaway from this. I know before I said dispel your ego, but I actually think it's about becoming the maximum level of hot you could possibly be. And if that means sobriety, so be it.
Exactly. Couldn't agree more.
I think we figured it out.
I know. Thanks for helping me figure it out.
Of course.
I
And
don't have to go to meetings anymore. I don't have to do anything. We
no,
got
frick
this.
it.
We got this,
We
right?
can quit all of it. We figured it out right now. But seriously, read that book. I'll DM it to you so you don't forget.
Sweet.
Let me know what you think.
I definitely will.
And next time we chat, we'll do a full book report.
10-4.
Exactly. Of
10-4. Thank you, Steph. Appreciate it.
course, it was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too. Have
Have
a
a good
great day.
day.